let's talk about it. Ready? If I said to you right now, I believe there's 9 macro challenge, not like, oh, I didn't make my phone calls. Like that's a micro challenge. Tell your buddy, what do you believe are just a few of the big problems agents and teams are facing right now in the industry? Tell your buddy, what do you think they are? The big problems, not the little ones. Tell your buddy. Come back to me. So, Byron, what do you think? What are the big macro problems we're facing right now in the industry? Okay, 42%, right? He's like, you nailed it. It's referral fees. That's definitely a big one. But I'm going to make an argument against 9 different ones. And there's no doubt them going directly into the vein of your dollars and sucking them out as fast as they can, that's a massive one. And if you think in your right mind, all my friends you got channel partners, and I love it, it's great. They're at 35% now. How fast before they go to 42? How fast? 18 months. When's their next earnings call? Think about it. Every one of them's thinking the same thing. Hey, you know what? Eventually, you'll either work for us or we'll just find somebody else in the marketplace and they'll do the job and we'll pay them a salary. Like, that's just business. Don't get mad at them. They're just doing their thing. You all do the same thing to agents in your marketplace. You sell so many houses and you're so successful and they all go, what a bitch. God, she keeps doing all these deals. She must sleep with all of her sellers. Right? And you know your husband's like, that explains it. Okay, I got it. Some of you will get that later. So I don't see Robert Mack, I don't see it as challenges. I see it purely as opportunities. I see it only in the view of opportunity. So what one person's challenge is my opportunity. Now, how do I want to attack this? How do I want to go after it? So I think here's the very first one. If you're taking notes, and this is probably in the workbook somewhere where it says The Great Divide, I see it as an opportunity. So I reach out to Seth Godin, and we do a little podcast, and Seth says to me, pre-podcast, and then said it on the podcast, which I thought was hysterical. He said, Tom, the problem in the industry is there's just too many hacks. There's too many people that think they're a real estate agent, but they're just nut jobs. They don't actually do anything, and they've dragged down the entire industry. And I said, Seth, I agree, but I have the data that tells you they really don't, because they don't sell any houses. And he was like, that's fair, but the fact that they say they're an agent, that hurts us. So tomorrow in the afternoon, all he wants to do with us is have all of us elevate our brands so bright that when they see that knucklehead, they go, knucklehead, anyway, oh, and they see you. Does that make sense? Like, that's going to be the game. But what it really is, my friends, is the data. So I went out and I said, Pat Vealing, big shout out to Pat, I know he's watching right now, love you, buddy. Pat says to me, Pat is the custodian of all of the transaction data in the MLS. So if you were a real estate broker and you wanted to recruit more agents, you could say to Pat, give me every agent in LA County, in Beverly Hills, John, that does $2 million to $5 million in volume and they're 18 months or less in real estate and they're trending in a decline, right? So they know how to do contracts, they know how to do the business, but they don't know how to generate business, so they would be excellent for your team, as an example, right? He gives us all that data, so I say, hey, Pat, what would you charge me to tell me every agent in the entire country, how many are in this percent, this percent, this percent, this percent, this percent, this percent? He's like, X amount of dollars. I'm like, done. I go, but because the vast majority of people in the room are here from Texas, from like, let's call it the Northeast, from Florida, from parts of California and parts of Washington, let's go from everything down to 5 of the biggest MLSs in the country, and let's take a look at the numbers to see if they match up. Is it national and, in this case, local? So check this out. We went in and we said, let's look at all the numbers. So Lisa, look at this. The top 1% of agents in their MLS, on average, doing 17.2% of all the business. Here's a little heads up, everybody. Look up here. The top 1% are doing nearly 18% of all the volume. Well, what about the transactions? Do you get paid based on transactions or volume? Which one? So I'm focusing on, Eric, the volume. 17.2% is the number. And Glenda, I said, is that number going this way, or this way? He said, it's like a hockey stick going straight up. And what have we been saying for all my elite clients and core clients and team clients? What have we been saying? It's the consumer flight to quality. It's the consumer flight to quality. They don't want to work with a hack. They want to work with someone that's got lots of transactions, lots of reviews, all the things that we know we'll talk about. But then I said, well, what about the top 5%? How much are they doing? The top 5% are doing 37% of all the volume. That's bonkers, my friends. In 31 years, I've never seen it like this. Now, the question you should be asking right now is, where do you rank in your own MLS? Who can you text right now to find out where you rank in the MLS? Because today you have to make a decision. You have to decide where you're going to be this year, next year, and going forward. Because, hint, the top 1 to 5%, here's what it says. Name team, name group, name team, name group, name group, name group, name group, name it associates, name team, name team, name team, 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 team. But I don't want a team. Join one. Because that's what's happening right now, my friends. And like some of you are like, oh, I don't like this. And he said, fuck. But look at this. This should scare some of you and have others being very excited. The top 10% are controlling 51% of all the business. The top 10%, straight out of the MLS, 51% of all the business. But look at this. The top 25% are basically doing it all. So you basically have the rich and everybody else. And as Seth said, you have the professionals, all of us, and you got a lot of hacks. I want you to write down a stat and then go back to your local MLS and do your own math. But write this down. You ready? So let's say, William, a buyer, albeit Post Ranch Inn, right, this Friday. So maybe I'll go look at some real estate, right? I have a tendency to do that. If I don't do any research, if I don't go online and say, oh, look at this agent versus that agent, who should represent me in those very inexpensive homes in Carmel? Who should handle that for me? A consumer today, write this down, has a 68% chance of hiring an agent that's done 0 to a max of 2 transactions in the last 12 months. A consumer has a 68% chance, based upon the national numbers in the MLS, of getting an agent that's at 0, they did 1, and maybe they did 2. That's the real deal. It is the rich and the rest. But Tom, I'm in this room, and I just got started, and I've only done 2 deals. Sell more fast. Sell your own home. You're now at 3. Do it as a mega open house. We'll get to that later. And again, that's 4, right? Yeah, if you get the buy side, then you're killing. Then you go buy another house, you're at 5. All right, we've already solved the problem. The point is this, my friends. All of us today, here's the numbers. Ready? Take a photo of this. What is the content you're going to create about this? Why does this matter to consumers? Why does this matter? We don't want to be selfish about it. Zachary, you can make something hysterical about it, right? A consumer has 68% chance of your face coming in and out of TikTok, right? But what it also means, everyone knows what I'm referring to, it means the bottom 50%. So in the US, the bottom 800,000 agents divide up 9% of the commissions. Here's my conclusions, ready? But questions first. First question, where do you think you rank today? Tell your buddy, where do you think you rank in the MLS? Tell your buddy, where do you think you rank? Where do you think you rank? 1 or 2, okay? Where do you think you rank? Top 5%, love it. So same thing, right? Team, where do you rank? 15, 1, 5? Oh, okay, 1, love it, congrats. Now, here's my question, you ready? What's up, JB? Shh, here's my question for all of you. Do you see this trend changing, yes or no? Yes or no, do you see this trend changing? Do you think in the world that we live in today, with as much transparency that we have today, and you could argue consumers asking for even more transparency around price, commissions, terms, they want to know everything today. Do you see this trend changing? I don't. Now, I will argue, ready? People say to me, well, do you think like with all these other businesses coming in, do you think it's like we're going to be the travel agents? I'm like, why? Those big companies don't want you to go away. They just want your money. They want you to keep working. Yes, keep working 7 days a week. I'll be skiing. Thank you very much. That's their mindset. Here's the third question. Where do you want to rank? Tell your buddy right now, write it in your notes. What are you committed to? It's the end of 2022. Where are you going to rank? I like 0.5. You with me? 0.5. The top half of 1%. But where do you want to be? And then the last question is, what's the most important decision you need to make? What's the most important decision you need to make? What's the most important decision you need to make? That's where it all starts. Let me give you some insights. You ready? Look at my notes. It's the consumer flight to quality. But on the flip side, where you're not going to see this, write it down too. Write this in your notes. It's also agents' flight to certainty. Agents' flight to certainty, Eric, is I'm joining a team, because being a solo agent today is very hard. So I'll join a team all day long, and that's why we look at this trend of, right now, I'm gonna show you guys tomorrow the numbers on teams in the US. It's about 240,000 of the 1.6 million agents are now on a team. Do you all hear what I just said there? It is absolute total team domination. But Tom, I don't understand and how we'll get into all of that. But it's also, ready, it's agents and teams that have put their brands on steroids. So do me a favor, I want you to just tell your buddy, be super honest. Have you done enough on social, in direct mail, in every possible vehicle to have the vast majority of consumers in your marketplace say, my mother's an agent, but I gotta talk to him? Tell your buddy, have you done enough? Yes or no? I can't hear you, yes or no? So are you a secret agent? Do you walk around the office with sunglasses? You got your shades on, but that's fly, I like that. But the deal is, my friends, the consumers are doing all the research to find us. We have to make ourselves so accessible and easily found that we're going to win. But here's the other thing I want you to get. Write this in your notes. If you're outside of the top 25%, there's no money in this for you. If you're outside of the top 25, there just isn't any money. So if you're gonna sell a house now and then, awesome. Enjoy driving Uber also. Maybe throw in some DoorDash. My point to you is there just isn't enough money. We don't need in Europe like 4 million agents. We need the 400,000 that sell all the houses. Does that make sense? But what's happening is it's brand and transactions and volume catching up, and it just feels like this massive tidal wave, and everybody else is still saying, should I go live on Facebook? You guys with me on this? Do me a favor, turn to your buddy and say, he is so talking to you right now. So, the question then becomes, okay, I'm about to share a ton of stuff with you. Many of you are a little more advanced with this. Some of you, I'm gonna hit you some things you haven't done yet. But I need a short-term solution for all of us to defend our position just between now and the end of the year. What are the most important things we need to do to win online and offline, to get way more referrals and way more people finding us online at zero cost? Who's up for that? Ready? Zero cost, they find you, and way more referrals. Who's up for that? Say aye. So let's talk about it. You ready? This is what's happening right now. All you got to do is look at the data. Google tells us that all day long, consumers are going, best agent in Irvine Terrace, top listing agent in, best listing agent in. How do I find the best agent? It's over and over and over and over. And yet, Gary, the vast majority of people inside this room, as smart as you all are, maybe you went to all these referral sites, maybe you went to all these referral sites, and should you be on all those? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Heck yes, you should be on them all. Everywhere I go, I should be able to find you. You should not be a secret agent. But Tom, I don't want to pay their referral fees. I'd rather at least get the referral fee than never get them. By the way, you will never look at that photo, ever. All of the slides are at tomferry.com/Summit Hub. Hiya. By the way, Zachary, the video you did, we need to play while we're here. It was legendary. I loved it. So here's what's going on. Look, guys, it's the blob. All those referral sites, all these companies are slowly coming after you. Doesn't that look disgusting? I love it. That's like Zillow, just gobbling up and eating all of your business, taking away all of your clients. So yes, you should be on those sites. But look at these 4 questions. Stop for a second, and I want you to answer each one of those 4 questions with your neighbor right now. What must you do to build a trusted brand? What is the most important thing today to build a trusted brand? Do you guys want my opinion? Be unapologetically yourself. Be you. Be you. Because guess what? If you fake some nonsense and act like something that you're not, when people meet you, they'll say, he's full of shit. But if you get out and you do what you do, and you're like this, I am so uncomfortable on video. 11 million people will like that because they'll say, me too. And if you have a Vizsla dog, if you have a cat, if you have children, if you have blonde hair, no hair, red hair, dyed hair, blue hair, someone's gonna go, oh my God, you wear glasses, I wear glasses, here's $10,000. That's how consumers are choosing today, yes or yes, guys? They're like, do I know you, do I like you, do I trust you? And we've never met before. So how do you build your brand? You unapologetically be you. But Tom, I don't even know who I am. Get a fucking therapist. Please. Or, look up here, guys. Or, really, you don't know who you are? Just write down, ask 3 or 4 of your friends, what are the wonderful qualities about me? What do I do that lights up the room? What do I do that stinks up the room? You with me? Ask your friends, and they're going to tell you, you know what it is about you? You're just calming. You're just so calm, and you bring like this soothing, situation to the environment. That's not important in a real estate transaction, is it? Right? When clients are freaking out all the time. So you find those things, and you just amplify the things that are you. In my experience, you do that, and then you put it on video, and you put it in blogs, and you put it in text, and you just get the word out there, because consumers today, write this in your notes for all of you that aren't doing video in 2021. Are you doing video? Okay, I love you. You doing video? Your video as I'm doing this, are you doing video? Okay, I love all 4 of you. The rest of you, write this in your notes. The most recent data, 81% of consumers make a decision after watching the video. 81% of consumers make the decision after watching the video. But I'm not comfortable doing video. Shut up. No one cares. Create the uncomfortable realtor show. I have a client right now. All of her videos are her dog with the Talking Pet app. Do you guys know the Talking Pet app? So she puts the little thing, and the dog, his mouth is going like this. Today, in Minnesota, blah, 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 the average sales price is $349. The dog is doing the market update. I am not kidding. I have another client in Louisiana. She's about 70. Her granddaughter, who's 9, is doing the videos. The grandmother asked the granddaughter, how's the market? And the 9-year-old says, Granny, right now there's 346 new listings that just hit the market. She's gonna kill it, right or wrong, guys? She's gonna kill it. So don't tell me, I'm not comfortable with video, shut up. Your dog can do it, your kid can do it. Dude, you have the sick hair, you should just have sick hair show, right? You have no hair show, you got sick hair show. If you guys did it together, it'd be awesome. But everybody's got their thing. Does that make sense? Okay, let's go through the rest. How do you defend your position online? We're going to do that. How do you become the hyperlocal recognizable agent, hyperlocal? And then how do you create sustainable numbers of transactions with no referral fees? Let's do it. Outcome number 1. We're going to do a really fast version of everything you need to do tonight for free. You ready? Then I'm going to show you how you're going to 10x the amount of referrals from your past clients in Sphere. Who's up for that? Say aye. And we're going to do all of that before 3:30. So we're going to jam. You ready? There's no way you will take notes on everything I say. TomFerry.com/Summit Hub. All the slides. Let's go. So the first thing is, tell your buddy if you have a Google My Business page. Yes or no? Yes or no? Raise your hands if you do not have a Google My Business page. Raise your hands really high. All right, so I love you all, so we can go more advanced. So for the, 93 of you or 100 of you, step 1, claim your page, right? That's the easy part. But what we really need to do, so write this in your notes for all of you that have one now, raise your hands really high. Have you filled out every tab? I can't hear you. Do you have more than 100 photos, yes or no? Oh, I heard a lot of no's. I'm gonna get you guys. So look at, build your business page, but here's the key. They're adding new tabs every day. And by the way, I'm gonna give you guys a little heads up. Write this in your notes because there's no slide. This is just for all of us. In the next 90 to 120 days, Google is going to launch a map of every photo, of every place you visited, of every transaction you've done, of every restaurant you go to, every dog park that you know. Everything that you do on your GMB is gonna end up on a map. And then a client is gonna go like this, looking for an agent in X. And they're gonna see your map with everything you do in the area, your transactions, the restaurants, the beer pubs you go to, everything. And they're gonna go, he likes beer, I like beer, here's $20,000. That's what's gonna happen, guys, in the next 90 to 120 days. So TikTok, you better hurry up. Now, consider the following, you ready? I'm gonna give you guys some inside baseball on some hacks that you need to be careful with. But the first thing is, obviously, when you're building this, if you go back to your page, if it doesn't actually have the name of your business, like the team name or whatever it is, you're gonna get in trouble. You gotta have your office address, you guys know that, and you gotta have a local phone number. So for example, like I say to my coaching clients, hey, you have a 310 cell phone, that's LA, you live in Plano, Texas. Google says, not a local number. Is that gonna hurt you? What do you guys think? The answer is yes. So little hacks like that. But this is what I want you to get. As much as I'm gonna tell you to play with it and tweak it, which we're gonna talk about some kind of crazy hacks to get you guys a ton of free views and phone calls, you have to understand that the Eye of Sauron is always watching. Now, if you don't know what the Eye of Sauron is, you are not socially or culturally relevant, and that's a deeper issue that we're all facing, right? You may have been like, I don't know, Ace Ventura Pet Detective is where you peaked. So the Eye of Sauron, look at what our coach and client Sean Ryan did. Can you see in the top left corner? What did he do? He changed it from his company name to the actual thing that people search for, Sarnia Real Estate Agent. He changed his name to that. Am I recommending you do the same? What do you guys think? The Eye of Sauron is watching. If you go in and make 50 changes to your page, it'll be shut down for 2 or 3 weeks. Do you hear what I just said? If you added 500 reviews in the next week, only about 75 will actually make it. Because Google will say, uh-oh, they went to a Tom Ferry seminar, they're trying to load this shit up. So you gotta be really sensitive and strategic. Because if you look here, you see what happened. Google says, hyper-local search, but if you change the name of your GMB page, so Sean changes it, and he's getting decent amounts of views, decent amounts of searches, then he changed it to Sarnia Real Estate Agent, and can you see that green spike? All of a sudden, everybody is seeing his page. Then he takes it off, and you can see it drop back down again, and then he brings it back up, and so it's very obvious. It's really weird. Like Google is saying, we only want the hyper-local expert, but don't put it in your title. But if you do, we'll give you a shitload of views. It's kind of screwing with you, right or wrong. So if you test that, which I recommend you have a conversation with your coach and say, hey, should we test this? Well, what other tests do you have running? What other things are you doing? Because we don't want to inundate them with a bunch of tests, because then they'll shut you down. And oh, by the way, write this in your notes, please. Super important, there's not a slide on it. Every one of you write this in your notes. Every coaching client, because if I get one more text or on the private page, hey, something just happened. Your GMB page is super easy to hack. It's really easy. Now, some of you are like, oh, I'm gonna go hack all my competitors. That's awesome. Tell me, how do I do that? Don't do that. If you get an email from Google, you better open it up and see what it is. Because they're gonna say to you, hey, some weird phone number is trying to log in as an admin of your Google My Business page, and we're seeing it happen, guys. The GMBs have only been around for like 3.5, 4 years. They got popular last year. Jason Pantana put it on steroids at the summit last year, and the rise of this has been tremendous for people, but it is shocking to me that a company as powerful as Google doesn't lock it down more than they do. Now, does that mean you shouldn't add reviews and do all the things I'm talking about? Or should it just mean I might want to check the email from Google now and then? Make sense? Because they're going to give you 72, write this in your notes, they give you 72 hours. If you don't respond, they give that person access. Did y'all hear what I just said? Like, it's really important because you're going to make so much money off your Google My Business page in the next year, 2 years, 3 years. But don't call me and say, oh, my thing got hacked and it's a number one agent by town and they're redirecting all the phone calls to them. You with me? They would never do that. That'd be douchey, but you all know what I'm saying. All right, so let's keep going. The eye of Sauron is always watching. Here's the next thing. My prediction is in 90 to 120 days when Google says, here's the map of everything you do, the first thing you're gonna look for is all of your photos and how many are geotagged. So tell your buddy right now, honestly, and you can pull up your own GMB right now and actually get the actual number. How many photos do you have on your GMB page right now? What would you guess? What would you guess? Here's what we know. Most agents have 10. 200, I love you. And geotagged, because Jason told you. Here's the deal, my friends. You got to be clear. Everyone in your notes, write this down. Everything that is authentically you goes on your GMB. Do you do yoga? I need to see it on there. Do you love riding Harley Davidsons? I better see it on there. Everything that is authentically you needs, I surf, I paddleboard, I love pickleball. Whatever you do needs to be on your GMB because what's happening is people are like, dude, he's just like me. Here's 20 grand. I want to buy a house from you. Does that make sense? And you've never met him. That's the game right now. Do you know who is doing a horrible job of this? Would you guys like to know? All of my luxury clients. I'm staring at a whole bunch of you right now in case you guys are wondering. All my luxury clients are missing it on this, and every time I get one to do it, all of a sudden the results go through the roof. So if you're in the mid to high end, you need to be all over this. Because if you don't think luxury buyers are saying, moving from Seattle to Dallas, I need a great agent in Highland Park. If you think that buyer of a $5 and $6 million house is just getting off their jet, landing and saying, let's see if I can go to an open house, you're fooling yourself. We need you to get that business. So how do we do it? You ready? Photos is the game in the beginning. You could see up here, like the FARs, look at this, guys. She's getting like 2,000 people looking at one photo. If you had 2,000 people looking at one of your thousands or hundreds of photos, do you think that they might fall in love with you, want to do business with you, connect with you? What do you guys think? And all the data shows that consumers are only looking for pages now that have lots of photos. So here's Linda, one of our great clients, higher end, killing it. She adds 898 photos, not all on the same day. You with me? Not take all photos, upload, but instead, here's 10, here's 15, here's 20, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. And then, all of a sudden, she's at 858, and she gets one shy of 20,000 views. Tell your neighbor right now, how many views did your website get last month? Did it get 20,000? Tell your buddy if it got 20,000 last month. I'm gonna guess you haven't gotten 20,000 views on your website this year. And yet, all of you could do this easily. So take a look at that little note. 90% of customers are more likely to visit a business with all these photos on their pages. So this should feel like basics and common sense, but remember, common sense that isn't acted on is a big mistake in today's environment. Here's the other one. You guys all know GeoImager, yes? Okay, so we're all doing GeoImager. I feel better there. Here's one you might be missing. All of the content you produced on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube and everything else, all of it needs to be migrated to your GMB. You guys with me? All the behind-the-scenes videos, all the stories, everything that you produced needs to go inside your GMB. We're gonna massively over-index, and you're gonna kill it. But here's the one that I really love. Ready? It's now about taking every review you have off Zillow or Yelp or wherever it is, and I want either a photo of the house or I want a photo of you. Now, Jason and I debate this all the time. There's something about the house, but at the end of the day, if I could just keep putting your face in front of there, Jason's kind of convinced me. He's like, forget the damn house, their face, 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 with the review superimposed, but then we geotag it. We geotag the address. So when Google does their map, we got the address, they click on it, photo of you, and they read the review. Does that make sense? That's like the ultimate sales weapon, my friends. But look at this, you ready? The other one is the product section. This is where I see a lot of people missing it. So you've got your photos, you've got some videos, but your product should be like all of your listings, every rental, all of your transactions, all of that should be inside there. But let me give you a little one you haven't done. Write this in your notes. Under products, you should have videos of all the contractors you work with, videos of all the local businesses, all these things that make you that hyper-local rock star. Everything should be there. I want you to be the single source for when a consumer's like, I'm thinking about doing X, I can go to your GMB page and get everything I need and then call you. Does that make sense? All right, let's keep jamming. Sarah Desimore, who I thought did an amazing, how about the Tom X presentations this morning? Did they do great? I love it. So Sarah does this a while back in January at the Elite. She's like, hey guys, I did this thing, Renee, where she said, I'm gonna answer 30 questions in 30 days. And my response was, first of all, that's brilliant on so many levels because what is she doing? She's answering, can you buy a house today for 3% down? If your FICO score is 4, can you still buy a house? She's answering all these questions. She's becoming the authority. People are calling her. I think she did like 5 or 6 deals from that initial just 30 videos. And my response is, shouldn't you just take all those videos and have them under the video section? What do you guys think? By the way, Sarah, stand up. She's right there. Give her a big round of applause. It's fabulous, right? Fabulous. So, in addition, here's one that many of you are not paying attention to. So this is a new one for a lot of you. Ready for my advanced peeps? How many free reports can I download from your GMB? You know, 7 ways to improve my credit to buy my first house. 17 things I can do to get my home for sale, like ready for sale. All those reports we've all had forever, now we're adding those, not just to our GMB, but also to our LinkedIn page, where you're also getting a ton of traffic. Now, I want to point this out to you guys. For many of you, the things that I just discussed, some of you are like, check, 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 got it, right, Diana? Check, 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 got it. But here's what I know. Like my buddy Brandon Howe, who's watching right now, Peoria, Arizona, unbelievable agent, unbelievable team. They'll do 400-ish transactions this year. He totally whiffed and didn't do any of this stuff. Didn't do the photos, right? Didn't over-index on reviews, and starts like 90 days ago just saying, okay, add more photos, get more reviews, make it a competition, get more of my people involved. And all of a sudden, guess what happens? Do you guys see the blue? Does everybody see the blue part? What does it say? What does it say, my friends? Can you see it? It's under discovery. Here's what I want you to get. And it might be a little hard for you to see, but look carefully. 3 out of 5 people that went to his GMB did not put in his name. The biggest percentage of people that went to his page, 2016, just typed in realtor, and Google said, I already know where you are. Here is Brandon Howe. That's called free business, yes or yes, my friends? Okay, so this should be easy. We should be nailing this. Then Brandon Howe team, then Realtor Arizona, then Realtor in Peoria. The bottom line is this, my friends. These are free views, and many of you, you've got 35 photos, you got 42 photos, but I want you to write this in your notes. You ready? Very important distinction. Doing a lot once doesn't matter. It's having it be a routine where you're always adding fresh content. You're always adding new reviews. Here's how it's working today. The way a consumer views you, if I go to your page and the last review was 120 days ago, I assume you stopped selling houses. Did you all hear what I just said there? So it's about the steady diet of all of this. So write this in your notes. Who on your team is going to manage this for you? Who on your team are you going to empower to be the cheerleader of all things Google My Business? Who on your team is going to be the one that is constantly adding more reviews, adding more photos, getting all this stuff done so you could just go on more appointments and do what you do best? But this has to be in place. Now, the battle for search, look up here, guys. It's only going to get more intense because you know, Jamie, all those companies that I mentioned, you know that they are all doing everything in their power to run ads. So when you type in best local agent in, you get all these different companies. So how do we compete with that, right? Brandon will tell you by doing all this stuff. By the way, take a look at this slide. I love Google because it actually tells Brandon this. If you look at that, Nick, here's what it says. The blue line is him. The red line is his competition. His blue, right, he's killing views all day long, and the agents in his marketplace haven't done it. So I want you to write down a fun little stat. And I know I'm giving you a bunch of nerdy stuff here, but write this down. I went out and I talked to thousands of agents in basically 8 cities across the US on a little summer tour. About 80% of every room I spoke to had no Google My Business page done. In Houston, who's from Houston? It was like 95%. Not Jamie the morning session with my clients, the afternoon session with guests, 95% of the room had not done it yet. So in our base, we're like, okay, we got this, Tom. Okay, well, what's next? But what I want you guys to get is there's still so much room for you to go even more aggressive, to gobble up all these search inquiries, and I want you all to do it. So before I move forward, I want you to tell your buddy, what are you gonna do? What's your commitment? Put it in your notes, and then tell your buddy, what are you going to do? What is going to be the consistent new habit?